I've been sitting with this very question for about a year, and the only reason I'm bringing it up is not to answer the question, but in the metaphor I think I heard you say that our mind is a bit like the bouncer for the heart. My mind is like Bruce Lee on steroids, stopping me going deeply into the experience of the heart on this one thing, and it's this.
By the way, just to give Bernardo credit, it was Bernardo Castro that said that, not me.
Yes.
I agree with him, but it was Bernardo that said it. But sorry, carry on.
So, as I reflect on what my experience is when I'm awake, of being aware, it has, as you described, peace and quiet joy, and it's something that I think I could do with more of this. If this is what eternity is like, I'm all in. But if I reflect on sleep as being aware of an absence of content, it feels to me that that is more nihilistic, that would have no different experience to essentially nothing. So it feels like, no, I don't want that. So the only explanation I could come up with that would reconcile the two, and I'm asking for your thoughts on this, obviously not an affirmation, is that Bernardo said that some experiments have shown that actually being in deep sleep is not the, and I don't want to get this wrong, not the awareness of absence, but the lack of ability to remember that we felt the same in deep sleep as we feel now when we're awake, which is you can feel that peace and joy.
Okay, I'm going to take another track. Why being aware feels like peace and joy in the waking state, but it feels more neutral in deep sleep? And because I think that's your question. And the reason that in the waking state is characterized by agitation of the mind and sorrow of the heart. So when this agitation, when the agitation of the mind and the heart subside in the waking state, being shines through, because it's the activity of the mind that veils being. So as the activity of the mind subsides, being briefly shines. And in contrast to the previous agitation, we refer to being as peace. In contrast to the previous sorrow, we refer to being as happiness. And that's why we refer to the shining of being in the waking state as peace and happiness. But in deep sleep, we don't experience it as peace and happiness because there is no agitation and sorrow present to contrast it with. So deep sleep seems to be like neutral, whereas in the waking, a being is said to be neutral, colorless, formless, empty, and so on, which is true. In the waking state, we refer to it as peace and happiness. That both are true. Peace and happiness are just the name we give to being in the waking state, by contrast with the agitation and the sorrow that we normally feel in that state. But they're the same thing.
Does that therefore mean that if we had a clearer experience, is not the right word, but a clearer awareness of being aware, even in deep sleep, it would have a sense of quiet joy? It wouldn't have a sense of nothing.
It's not that we're aware of being aware, or aware of, let's just call it the awareness of being. It's simpler. It's not that we are aware of being in deep sleep. It's that when we are aware of being, we are deeply asleep. Deep sleep is not a state in which we are aware of being. When we are just aware of being, we are what's called deeply asleep.
Okay, thank you.
So now, you're having go to the experience of being, not the experience of thinking, feeling. Go to the experience of being. Just a simple, ordinary, intimate, obvious experience of being. Yeah? That's it. You just fell deeply asleep. You see, deep sleep is not a state that alternates with the other two states, that we pass from the waking state into the dream state and from the dream state into deep sleep. If we believe that, then we have to postulate a fourth state, turiya consciousness. But that's only true. And then, if we postulate a fourth state that is different from the three states of waking, dreaming, and sleeping, then we're conceiving consciousness as a state. So then we have to conceive of a fifth state, turiyatita, beyond the fourth. And we go on. But it comes from a misunderstanding that deep sleep is a state that alternates with waking. No, deep sleep is just the shining of being all alone. And it's ever present. It's not a state. It doesn't come and go. When it colors itself, when it is colored by thinking and imagining, the entity that we seem to become as a result of this mixture of being with thinking and imagining, from the point of view of that entity, we are now in the dream state. And then being is further colored by sensing and perceiving. From the entity that we seem to become as a result of this mixture of being plus thinking, imagining, sensing and perceiving, we seem to enter a waking state. And from the point of view of the person we seem to be in the waking state, deep sleep is a state. It's not a state, it's just the ever-present background that's only referred to as a state in reference to the other two states of waking and dreaming. I'm not sure that was very clear. Was that
no,
clear?
that's very helpful.
Okay, I'm going to give you one more analogy for those, the artists rather than the philosophers amongst us. I'm going to say the same thing, but I'm going to give it to you in a visual representation to make it easier. So imagine a white circle. The white circle, the whole circle that represents reality, consciousness, being. It's just whole, perfect, complete, indivisible. Now imagine you, to take a pen with, in the middle, you go up to 12 o'clock, and then you go down to 4 o'clock, and so you divide into two. You have a third, and you paint that third red. Then you take the other line from 12 o'clock down to 8 o'clock, and you paint that blue. So now you've got two colors. You've got the white paper. You've got two colors. A third of it is red, and the other third of it is blue. Yeah. But when you look at it, you seem to have three colors: red, white, and blue. That's the three states of waking, dreaming, and sleeping. As soon as you have the red and the blue, the white seems to become a part of the whole, a state. No, the white is just the background. The white only appears to be a part of the whole when the other two segments are colored. Well, deep sleep only appears to be a state from the point of view of the waking and dreaming states. Is that one of those two explanations clear? Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't heard you say before. That's incredibly helpful. For me, that's the positive thing I couldn't see before.
Yes.